Hot topic worldwide right now is Trump's big move on the reciprocal tariffs.
Last Wednesday, Donald Trump announced that in 1 week he was going to impose the biggest increase in tariffs in 100 years.
What are your thoughts on this grand move?
If the whole world responds to zero, Trump will have achieved globalization.
From selling Hotmail to Microsoft for a staggering $400 million to decoding global economy, Sabir Bhatia joins me to talk about business, Trump's policies, and how India truly calculates its GDP. You don't want to miss this. Recently, our Minister Piyush Goyal also made a speech where he said that we're looking at startups the wrong way.
I think, first of all, he's identified a problem, which is correct, but he hasn't thought of a solution. But I have. And the solution is,
What do you think is the key differences United States or India के business models पे?
collaboration. They want your startup to succeed. That comes from critical thinking. यहाँ पर everybody is trying to pull you down. I have done a lot of deals with Indian bureaucracy. They're afraid to make a decision. The ecosystem here doesn't support any out-of-box thinking. TRAI actively shut us down. We would have been bigger than WhatsApp. We are still operating a village economy, not a real economy.
But हमारी GDP इतना grow हो रही है.
कैसे ग्रो हो रही है? काउंटिंग ही गलत है.
काउंटिंग गलत. डिटेल में समझाइए इस चीज को. Right off the bat, the hot topic worldwide right now is Trump's big move on the reciprocal tariffs. And that's not just impacting the stock markets everywhere, but it's going to impact a lot of businesses when it comes to them doing business with the US. What are your thoughts on this grand move?
Obviously, the whole world has seen this as a negative move because stock markets have responded negatively. But if the world uses this as an opportunity to say, if you're going to tax us, and at half of what we are taxing you, we'll drop tariffs to zero. Israel and Vietnam have already done that.
Is it?
They've dropped their tariffs on US goods to zero. If the whole world responds to zero, actually Trump will have achieved globalization. What is globalization?
Please tell me.
When, if you're good at manufacturing cars, you make cars. If I'm good at making clothes or televisions or watches, I'll make watches and we'll trade. Globalization lifts all economies. Protectionism is an outdated concept. Protectionism, like we have been practicing in India to try to keep our industries over here, protect the industries. Why? Today, industries are global. Companies are global. When you give protection to your own companies, you are thinking of wealth being conserved within the family or within the four boundaries or or borders of your own country. That's the wrong way of thinking about wealth these days. The world has moved on into an IP-based economy. This still stems from thinking you are an asset-based economy, where land, buildings, assets are worth something. If you look at 35 of the top 50 companies in the world today, they're all based on intellectual property. Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, Netflix. So this is a shock treatment. But if the world is smart and says, let's all make it zero globally, he has achieved globalization without doing anything. I think that would be the ultimate case, that if people respond in kind, and two smart countries, Vietnam and Israel, have already responded in that fashion. If the other countries let ego go away and do this, boom, the world has become one country. It's become a global system with no boundaries, just like the European Union was. Why just European Union? Extend that concept to the whole world. I think India should respond with zero tariffs on US goods. It'll be good for India, good for US.
Why do you think they're not doing that? I'm sure there are think tanks sitting up there who have thought of this and probably have put a proposal out there to the decision
I don't
makers?
think so.
No?
I don't think any.
What do you think is the reason that they are not even thinking in that
Nobody is
direction?
bold enough. I have done a lot of deals with Indian, bureaucracy. They're afraid to make a decision. Everybody's afraid to make a decision. Nobody wants to sign on the dotted line and sign an agreement because decision-making paralysis. And I'll take a step back and say our Indian education system doesn't teach kids to make a decision. You ask somebody, "Aap kya khaoge?" Kuch bhi. What's the meaning of kuch bhi? Say what? A, B, or C. You've not made a decision because you've been taught not to make a decision because you become a good kid when you don't make a decision
And you just follow.
and you just follow. Our education system is creating an army of followers, not of leaders who think and say, "This is what I want." You ask any kid in the US and say, "I want this, this, this." You're taught to make a decision from very early on. Sometimes you make the wrong decision, but then as parents, we have to convince kids, "I think your decision is wrong for A, B, C, D, E, F, G." The kid says, "No." I said, "No, please reconsider." Oh, you step in, but you encourage them, you treat them like adults.
Interesting.
Here, I mean, people get married to people that they don't know because their parents said so. Their parents have to find somebody for them who's of the same caste, same religion, same this thing. Why? That mindset has to go. Make decisions. Teach your kids to make decisions and good decisions.
But don't you think that these big decisions are actually on the higher level of hierarchy where it comes to politics and where it comes to the decision makers up there? It's not the bureaucrats down there.
Nobody's making a decision.
That's my question. Like a Trump at a presidential level has made a decision.
Yeah. Great.
So a decision to make it zero tax in Vietnam and Israel has come from the top leadership.
No.
No.
They passed it in the Senate right away and everybody agreed. Boom. Israel made it in lightning speed. We should do the same. Lightning speed. Make a decision, say zero. We'll make it zero. Trump will be forced to. Our industries will become more competitive. We will become better. It will open a flood of capital flowing into India to create jobs in the country.
Interesting. In fact, recently, our minister Piyush Goyal also made a speech where he said some very hard-hitting points, where he said that we're looking at startups the wrong way. Startups, what China is doing is making progress in semiconductors, in AI, in everything, and we are not looking at it in that direction. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, first of all, he's identified a problem, which is correct. But he hasn't thought of a solution, but I have.
Okay, tell me.
And the solution is our education system. We do not teach critical thinking to kids in our system. Our education system is still rote-based, learning-based system. I went through it. You went through it. Probably half the people in this room went through it. If you go through a rote-based learning and you're never allowed to ask a question, how can you come up with a new solution? True. Your mind is occupied by just keep quiet and listen. Your goal is to just pass an exam. You don't get innovation. You don't get critical thinking when you have to just pass an exam. Where will you start thinking of solving the world's problems because you are just worried about getting the highest marks in the exam and getting a job, passing IIT, UPSC, XYZ, whatever, and getting a job. That's it. After that, you're done. You don't think any further. Where can you get a deep seek or new ways of thinking? That comes from asking questions. The first question that we have to teach kids to ask is, can I do it this way? Can I do it that way? Can I do something different? That curiosity we kill in children because the standard answer in India is no. Any kid, if you tell any kid no 10 times, the 11th time the kid will not ask any question at all. Answer, I know the answer is no. So why even ask? That is what is wrong. If we change that, if Piyush Goyal and all the other ministers sit down and say, and in fact, I've even created a course on critical thinking.
Yeah, I want to talk more about it.
Let's stimulate people's minds, kids' minds, to start asking questions and learning, truly learning, not memorizing to pass an exam, but learning for the sake of learning. When we do that, we will have 100 deep seeks come out of here. Only from original thinking and learning do you start to form opinions of your own. In the age of AI, how things are done in the past and learning them to the T is useless because computers will do a better job. Robotics and AI will do a better job than humans can. So what does that leave humans to? It leaves us to open our minds to imagination, to creativity, to new ways of doing old things, to questioning things. That is completely absent in Indian education.
Why do you think these reforms are not being made even today?
It's happening. It's been happening for the last 40 years. Who wants to change the whole thing? Why? Somebody said, let's blame the British. The British gave us this. Yeah, but for 75 years, you did nothing with it. Why do you not change it? So the simple answer to the question is, we have a system that is knowledge-based. All of our, Kaun Banega Crorepati, this quiz show, that quiz show, is testing what? Knowledge, which is useless. Knowledge in today's world is useless. Knowledge without action is useless. It has to change from knowledge-based to inquiry-based. Let's encourage kids to ask questions. Only when they ask questions do they learn. Otherwise, they're just being told what to do. For 18 years, they're just told what to do. They'll just say, tell me what to do, I'll do it. This was the ideal worker for the industrial age.
Interesting. Because I feel it's also lopsided that on one hand, you want Indian entrepreneurs and startup ecosystem to start thinking and innovating, but they've not got the education backing it from the country. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to go abroad and study. And a lot of people have the aspirations, but they don't have the backing of learning behind it.
Or of patience. I'm working on a company right now. We haven't released the product yet. We've been working on it for 14 years.
Wow.
14 years. We haven't given up.
That would just get scrapped here.
No chance. Nobody will fund something for 14 years. People want immediate. I want out, in and out. Dhanda, right now. Dhanda doesn't work. If our leaders or the so-called people we look up to are the ones who are doing dhanda, that's not entrepreneurship. Where will you get critical thinking? Where will you get, next generation battery technology, EV, this, that? No, because there is no patient capital, there is no patient government, there is no... the government you can change any time. They make decisions for the day, not for a long-term strategic thinking decision. As a result, like I said, one of the first examples of this that I experienced myself was when I went to Caltech. I was asked to write a paper. There were 3 books that were required reading for that paper. I read those 3 books. I wrote a paper. I got a D. Because I had come from the Indian system, which is stay within the confines, the boundaries. What is it written in the books? Just summarize it, regurgitate it, and do it, right? So the professor said, I have read those 3 books too. I want to see what is your point of view on this. And how will you defend your point of view? Nobody had ever asked me for my point of view in India. I said, this is the right country. I've come to the right place. Let me rewrite that paper. And I got a B after that. But I learned this is a country that values people's opinions, decisions, way of thinking.
Somewhere I was reading that in the United States, if you have an idea, you get funding for it. And even if you fail, you're not going to not get funding the next time around you have another idea. But in India, if you get funding for an idea and if you fail, you're finished. You're never going to get funding again for it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, that is a big problem. Because first of all, 9 people know 9 out of 10 startups will fail. That is the definition of a startup. But the one that succeeds more than makes up for all the losses. I'll give you another example. There is a gentleman by the name of Ron Conway in Silicon Valley. He started a fund called Angel Investors, I think. And during the dot-com boom, he put money in 150 companies. When there was a dot-com bust, he wrote a letter saying, I'm very sorry, most of the companies are not going to make it, XYZ, whatever. So he wrote a sorry letter apologizing to the investors. I was one of the investors. And then he returned 3 or 4 times the entire fund. Because one company that he invested in of the 150 was Google.
Oh.
That means 149 failed. But the one that made it more than returned all the investment.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel in India we look at कि fail नहीं होना चाहिए इंसान.
क्यों नहीं?
Fail होंगे तो मतलब time गया, पैसा गया, सब कुछ गया.
So what? Ultimate goal of life is to find the truth, not to succeed or to fail. All new ideas, out-of-box ideas are meant to fail. Otherwise, you're operating within the box. फिर धंधा कर रहे हो. धंधे से नहीं गाड़ी आगे नहीं बढ़. IP में तो धंधा है ही नहीं. IP में तो completely you have to come up with a new idea that nobody has thought of before. And that idea, everybody tries new ideas. And like I give you the example, 149 failed, but one made it. Is the world better off because one made it? For sure.
आपको लगता है चाइना ये कर रहा है?
Of course it's doing it. First of all, adversity जो China के लिए थी, because they had limited resources, they couldn't use the latest chips. They said, this is what we have to work with. Let's figure out a smart way of solving this problem of large language models. And they came up with a simple idea. The ideas are not that complex either. Instead of giving everything to 780 billion parameters, we cannot process 780 billion parameters fast enough using these chips. We'll process it with 30 billion parameters. But let's divide the problem from the very beginning upstream. कि उसको छोटे problems में parse कर दें. कि उसको अगर if that is an engineering query, send it to an engineering, neural network. Although if it is a legal query, send it to a legal neural network. Divide the problem. And they came up with a much cheaper and better solution called DeepSeek.
Yeah.
Our society is obsessed with success. Marks are not true indication of a person's intelligence. But we say, नहीं, marks अच्छे आने चाहिए. कुछ भी करो, marks अच्छे. पूरी पढ़ाई is based on marks only. गलत है. पढ़ाई गलत है. मैं बोलूं पूरे education system रद्दी है. Because today, I can learn whatever I need to learn by looking at YouTube or looking at, ways of doing things. What I need to be able to stimulate is, can I come up with a new idea based on this? Use these techniques to solve something else, something different. That is innovation. 65,000 kids go to Kota to study just to pass an JEE. All 65,000 of them are killing their brain cells. You think they are being creative by going to Kota? Do you think they'll become next generation entrepreneurs? We are wasting entire generations because we have a Naukri mindset. Naukri chahiye bhai. All of our IIT kids also, tomorrow I'm giving a talk at IIT, 90% of them get jobs at JP Morgan, at XYZ, Morgan Stanley. Engineering kahan kar rahe ho? Critical thinking kahan kar rahe ho? The best and brightest are doing that. Where can you expect a DeepSeek?
True. मुझे बात करना है द कंपैरिजन बिटवीन यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स और इंडिया के बिजनेस मॉडल्स पे. ऐसा क्यों होता है कि जब यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में कोई बिजनेस कर रहा है वो ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल होता है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स, नॉट ऑलवेज, बट इंडिया में वही चीज़ नहीं हो पाती है क्योंकि हमारे पास जो माइंडसेट है, आज अब देखेंगे तो गूगल, फेसबुक, ये सारी जो बड़े टेक कंपनीज हैं उनके जो CEOs हैं, हेड्स हैं, वो सब इंडियन हैं, इंडियन ओरिजिन से हैं. तो वही अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया में क्यों नहीं मिल रही उन्हें? क्योंकि ब्रेन तो है.
नहीं, it's a very simplistic way of looking at it. They have gone through a system. They are managers. They've done great. They manage great companies, but many of them didn't start those companies.
Right.
So that's one difference. Second difference is the ecosystem here doesn't support any out of box thinking. I have had personal 2 examples, at least. There are more, but at least 2. One in which TRAI actively shut us down. We would have been bigger than WhatsApp had TRAI not done that. तुम ये कुछ violate कर रहे हो. My interpretation, some babu has an interpretation कि you are violating some rules. They are sticklers to rules. Uber broke every taxi cab regulation on planet Earth. Do you think it could have come from India? Zero chance. हाँ, पहले हो गया है तो फिर उसके बाद. That means we are already preconditioned in our minds to copying. पहले कर लो, कोई risk नहीं लेना. New business model means completely new thinking. Everybody will first shut you down. Because mentality is, if he's doing something good, pull him down first. Shut him up first. How can you have out-of-box thinking? We are too eager to implement rules. Whereas, like I said, over there, if some kid has an idea of doing something different, out of box, everybody encourages. Achha, they start thinking with you. Achha, aap aisa karoge. What if you try this? You do this. Maybe you can do this, do this. Everybody starts collaborating. यहाँ पर तो सब नहीं होगा. 20 people will tell you नहीं होगा. Nobody will tell you हाँ होगा. If 20 people tell you no होगा, the kid will only say यार भूल जा यार, ये तो सब लोग बोल रहे हैं नहीं होगा, chance ही नहीं होता. क्यों? Why do I go up against my family, this, that? And everybody is telling me, go get a job, go get a job, go get a job. Successful हो. एक तो we are as a society overly obsessed with success. What is success? We should be solving for happiness, not for success. We are a money-obsessed society. Everything is money. Purpose of life is not to make money. Beyond a certain amount, you don't need any money. But you have to be able to think like that. Ki, I'm going to do something that the world will remember me for. Something good. Something that will change planet Earth. Something that will solve a fundamental problem. यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम्स थोड़ी सॉल्व करते हैं, ये तो पैसे के लिए सॉल्व करते हैं. कितने पैसे बनेंगे? जब हमने हॉटमेल शुरू की थी, आई डिड नॉट इवन नो पैसे बनेंगे या नहीं बनेंगे. ये तो सिर्फ आइडिया क्या था, मेक ईमेल अवेलेबल ऑन द वेब because that will make it ubiquitous. Previously, I had to access email through a specialized piece of software. Now I can make it available anywhere on the web. That will solve the problem for 2 people, Jack and myself. We'll do it for the whole world. How will we make money? Well, maybe we'll make it on advertising. Maybe we'll charge people. पता ही नहीं था. कोई इंडियन बिजनेस ऐसे शुरू करते हैं, कोई स्टार्टअप ऐसे शुरू होता है? नहीं, पहले पूरा बिजनेस प्लान लिखते हैं. Business plan likhna is the beginning of the end.
The death of a startup.
Death of a critical thinking startup.
What do you think is the key differences that you have observed in conducting business between these two countries?
Collaboration. Everybody's there to help you. They want your startup to succeed. They'll tell you 10 ways of making. Go ahead. Positive. करो. हम नहीं कर सकते, आप तो कर सकते हो, आप जाके करो स्टार्टअप. जब मैं अपनी जॉब छोड़ रहा था हॉटमेल करने के लिए, all the people who were working in the company said they had a throw away party. I'm so glad you're doing a startup. I don't know if it'll succeed or not, but at least you have taken the first step. Good luck to you. यहाँ पर everybody is trying to pull you down. नहीं, वो मेरे से आगे निकल जाएगा, वो मेरे से ज्यादा पैसा कमा लेगा. वो सोच ही गलत है. तो एक तो society supports you, system supports you. लोग, somebody, our VCs backed 2 27-year-olds then, which was a big thing, with some money, 300K. मैं ये सोच रहा था इंडिया में तो कोई मुझे 300K in those days नहीं देगा for a crazy idea कि हम ईमेल मुफ्त का दे देंगे, मुफ्त का। भाई पैसे कैसे बनेंगे? पता नहीं कैसे बनेंगे। अरे तुम मुफ्त का क्यों दे रहे हो? So way of thinking. But we created the world's first cloud-based application. Today, cloud is $1 trillion business. That comes from critical thinking, of thinking big. I don't like to do any business where there is a definite outcome. कि इतना पैसा लगा रहे हो, इतना वापस मिलेगा. Any business that I do, the outcome has to be unlimited. Unlimited means it can be 10 trillion. Otherwise, I'm not interested in doing it. My cells don't get charged up at all. Then it's business, यार. It's been done before. Then तो एकदम ही boring है. करना ही नहीं है मुझे. दिलचस्पी नहीं है. Maybe I'm cut off of a different cloth.
So these are the two prime differences you're saying. Okay. आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या यूनिक अपॉर्चुनिटीज या चैलेंजेस हैं इंडिया में, इंडियन मार्केट में एंटरप्रेन्योर्स और इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए?
एक तो the largest number of online users in the world, English speaking, are in India. The largest percentage of Google users, largest percentage of LinkedIn, more than 50% of Facebook, more than 50% of Instagram, of 90% of WhatsApp users are in India. So India has the online market user base. Now, somebody has to think of new ideas. So the opportunity is here. They're young Gen Zs. They want to try different things. They're open to new ideas. They've jumped on the social media bandwagon like no other country in the world. There is great opportunity on the one hand, but obviously it has to be a product that has never been done before. Like one simple idea that I have, I think, and this is open for all your viewers, is I think instinct tells me that in the next 5 years or 10 years, everything has become an app, you know. Transportation is an app, food is an app, marriage is an app, hooking up with people is an app, you know, e-commerce, shopping is an app. Why can we not make elections an app? We are the biggest country in the world, greatest democracy. I tried this with a former first response. It will never happen in India. His own response was never. Then his was like, has it been done anywhere before? I said, if it's been done somewhere before, then it's not innovation. Then it's copying. Why can we not have the mindset of innovating? We'll be the first country to do it. Why not? If Piyush Goyal wants us to be progressive, let him step up to the plate and say, I'll work with you. I'll create an app. Let's make elections an app.
I can see the challenges that can come in there with the
But those are minor. If you are trusting your finances on an app, elections are far away from finances.
The corruption behind it can be this thing that you're sitting in your house and...
There is no corruption. You can validate every user, have a unique photo printing, voice printing of every unique user. You'll cut down on hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and you will lead the world in innovation. Right? I mean, we should be doing it. If the government is blaming, you don't think, work with us. Come on, I'll do it. Work with me. We will create the most robust ecosystem. Why not? If you are already giving me 10 reasons of not doing it.
I'll tell you why I'm giving you 10 reasons of not doing it. Because जब भी elections होते हैं ना, तो सबसे पहले hail and cry होता है जब भी result आते हैं EVM machine. तो जब आपका attack ही
But you're still
source पे,
you're still stuck in the past.
वही मैं
If अगर you are trusting your finances today to a common person, voter in India, finances are more important than who's running the country.
Correct.
Right? अगर वो finances पूरा app पे trust कर रहे हैं, voting, we can make it trustworthy. Why not? The challenge is to make it trustworthy, but yeah, we can do it. But why should we wait for some other country to do it? Why can we not take the lead?
Very true.
This is an example, live example.
Absolutely.
And once we do it here, we can export this to the whole world. That comes from critical thinking and original thought.
So, you think these are the only opportunities and challenges there?
No. There are so many. I'm just giving you off the cuff.
Okay.
There are 10,000.
What do you think is the vision for India's role in global business arena in the next decade?
India's role. Well, India can be the leader if it chooses to. But if it is stuck in this zero-sum game mentality, it will continue to be a zero-sum game country. It has to change its mindset, thinking.
But don't you think we're moving in that direction correctly?
Not yet. I don't
ऐसे
see
क्यों लगता है
anything.
आपको? क्योंकि जो
Same reasons that Piyush Goyal says. जितने भी आप startups देखो, सब food delivery, app delivery, ये delivery, वो delivery, ये क्या 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes? That is not innovation. I don't see any startups that are working on critical problems.
I think there is one, the Hyperloop that Chennai-based company is working on.
वो हाइपरलूप इलॉन मस्क कर रहा है, वही चीज हम यहाँ कर रहे हैं. वो नाम भी हाइपरलूप है, नाम भी बदला नहीं है, और आप बोल रहे हो एक है. चलो एक है.
मैं तो डेविल्स एडवोकेट बन रहा हूँ इसमें.
चलो एक है. मैं बोल रहा हूँ 1000 क्यों नहीं है ऐसे, लाख ऐसे कंपनीज क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि हम डरते हैं. हमको डराया जा रहा है फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग. ये नहीं करो, ये मत करो, ऐसा हो जाएगा. अरे व्हाट्स द पॉइंट ऑफ लाइफ देन? जी क्यों रहे हो?
तो जब तक सोच नहीं बदली जाएगी तब तक कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
जब तक ये डर नहीं निकाला जाएगा, नहीं जो होगा देखा जाएगा, कर लेंगे, ये मेरा आइडिया है, चलेगा. जैसे मैंने आपको अभी भी बताया, इलेक्शन का क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? कोई क्यों नहीं कर रहा? मैं करता हूं. मुझे गवर्नमेंट की सपोर्ट चाहिए, करते हैं. अगर गवर्नमेंट ही बोलेगी नहीं हम नहीं कर सकते, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा, और फिर गवर्नमेंट ही क्रिटिसाइज कर रही है कि तुम आउट ऑफ बॉक्स क्यों नहीं सोच रहे, तो दैट मीन्स उनको दे themselves don't know who they are. Their vision is not clear. They are stuck in the past. We have to get out of this. We have the greatest opportunity on planet Earth.
Right now, yes.
The youngest population. Ready. Willing. Somebody needs to light a match and say, go do it. We are there to support you. वो support है ही नहीं ना. कोई नहीं support कर रहा. Family नहीं support कर रही, friends नहीं support करते, government नहीं support कर रही. In name बोलते हैं हाँ support कर रहे हैं, but not in reality, not in kind. It's the subconscious support that is needed. Not the conscious. Not हाँ हम आपको support कर रहे हैं, लेकिन fail हो गए तो हम आपको मारेंगे. अरे what kind of BS is that?
I think इसी वजह से जो गैप है टेक वर्ल्ड में, हमारे देश में और अब्रॉड में, ये बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, डिस्पाइट हम नोटिस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि एक नैरेटिव ब्रिज कर सकते हैं. पर जो सवाल सरकार कई बार उठाती है कि हम क्यों एक यूट्यूब, फेसबुक, मेटा क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, वो सवाल वही उठा रहे हैं और अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी वहां नहीं मिल रही हैं हमारे देश में.
सरकार हैज टू लुक इनवर्ड्स at themselves, not point the blame at somebody else. Everybody is playing the blame game. Not our problem. It is your problem. You come up with a solution.
वो गैप क्या है जो आपने अभी गैप यूज, जो हम ब्रिज कर सकते हैं, वो क्या गैप है? और अगर आप
Critical thinking का गैप है, subconscious support का गैप है. I am here to support you. आपको कुछ करना है, मैं कैसे सपोर्ट कर सकता हूं? अगर गवर्नमेंट ही बोल रही है नहीं आप नहीं कर सकते, ये नहीं है, ये रूल्स आप ब्रेक करेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, आप बोलोगे यार गवर्नमेंट ही नहीं सपोर्ट कर रही, क्या करेंगे? लाइक मैंने एक लिंक्डइन पे आर्टिकल लिखा है. यूपी गवर्नमेंट हैज कम अप विद अ न्यू स्कीम टू सपोर्ट स्टार्टअप्स इन यूपी. MYUVA स्कीम है कुछ, मुख्यमंत्री युवा समथिंग स्कीम, where they have earmarked 100 crores to give 5 lakhs to startups, each to startups. Non-interest loan दे रहे हैं स्टार्टअप्स को. भैया लोन क्यों दे रहे हो? लोन मीन्स जीरो सम गेम मेंटालिटी. हम आपको पैसे दे रहे हैं, आप ही हमको पैसे वापस दे दीजिए. मैं बोल रहा हूँ 99% of startups fail. Why don't they change this from loan to equity and say we'll become your partner? हम आपको सपोर्ट करेंगे. ये लो 5 लाख लो, 5% equity दे दो, और अगर आप यूनिकॉर्न बन गए तो हमारा भी भला हो जाएगा, आपका भी भला हो जाएगा. What do you need from me to help you succeed? वो माइंडसेट की बात है सिर्फ. And when I asked this question, they said we are prepared to lose this money. Then don't call it a loan, call it equity. You're prepared to lose it. Why don't you become a partner? Why are you a hands-off adversary like a loan shark giving a loan? Why? In the subconscious brain, let the kids who get this scholarship or get this grant, let them think that the government is your partner. Problem solved. And they'll create such goodwill that will last the next 100 years. This is the mindset change. We are still operating a zero-sum game economy because none of our leaders know how to run a real economy.
Interesting. This all also entails heavy reforms that need to be done.
सब हो सकता है, सब कुछ है.
अच्छा, मुझे
ठीक होनी चाहिए.
मुझे आपसे ये जानना है, बिजनेस के लिए, ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के लिए क्या रिफॉर्म्स अच्छे हुए हैं या अभी तक नहीं हुए, और क्या रिफॉर्म्स होने चाहिए?
We are still operating a village economy, not a real economy.
बट हमारी जीडीपी इतना ग्रो हो रही है.
कैसे ग्रो हो रही है? गलत काउंटिंग ही गलत है.
काउंटिंग गलत.
मैं आपको 1000 रुपए दूं, आप मुझे 1000 रुपए वापस दें, 18% जीएसटी करके 2000 का जीडीपी बढ़ गया. कैसे बढ़ा है?
ये मैं समझा नहीं, सॉरी. वो थोड़ा डिटेल में समझाइए इस चीज को कि हम जीडीपी गलत कैसे
काउंट ही गलत कर रहे हैं.
कैसे?
The way GDP should be counted, first of all, is how much money have you earned? The earning should come based on how many hours of effort you have put in and what your hourly rate is. Let's say your hourly rate is $100 per hour and you've put in 8 hours of effort in a day. You have increased the GDP of the country by $800. If my hourly rate is only $10 an hour, and I've put in 8 hours, I add another $80 to the GDP. And government takes a portion of that in tax. That's not how the government is counting GDP right now. If I give you $1,000, you give back $1,000, they show it as GDP has gone up by $2,000. So they are missing the critical number which the government should be looking at. Not how big our economy is going to be. It's the GDP per capita. If you take the top 5% of India's wealthy out of this whole equation, our GDP per capita is $1,100 or $1,200 per year, which is as low as Gabon, sub-Saharan Africa. So when some people say our economy is growing, it's becoming this trillion, they're all lying. Brazenly lying. They're not solving the real problem. The real problem should be to increase the GDP per capita of every individual.
And how do you think that can happen?
Change the way you count it. Unleash mass employment. Don't create it yourself. Let foreign companies, let other companies come and create employment. Help them create employment. There are 200 million unemployed kids in India. Nobody is talking about that. It's taboo to even talk about it. Why not? Fix that problem. And increase the GDP and start counting it the right way. By actual effort put in.
या मेरे पास हमेशा एक सवाल होता था कि मैं जब भी दूसरे देश जाता हूँ, घूमता हूँ, मेरे फैमिली फ्रेंड्स हैं, वहाँ पे हर जगह आवरली रेट होता है. हमारे यहाँ पे मंथली एक सैलरी है. एक आर्गुमेंट मुझे जो मैक्सिमम मिला है हमारे देशवासियों से ही और जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट देते हैं, वो बोलते हैं कि हमारी पॉपुलेशन इतनी बड़ी है कि हम आवरली रेट्स नहीं कर सकते हैं उसको,
क्यों नहीं कर सकते?
क्योंकि बहुत लोगों को फिर नौकरी नहीं मिलेगी.
What kind of a bullshit argument is that?
And this is not one person who's told me. At least 5 out of 10 people have spoken to us.
Then they don't understand economics. So just everybody keep a track of how many hours you put in.
कोई रोड पे रोड बनाने का काम कर रहा है तो कोई ऑफिस में बैठा हुआ है, तो आप
नहीं।
इतना कैसे ब्रेक डाउन कर सकते हैं?
तो आजकल कंप्यूटर्स हैं, हर एक का ब्रेकडाउन हो सकता है. बिल्कुल 100%.
मिनिमम वेज सिस्टम.
Either minimum wage or wages. Simple. That way everybody is participating in the growth of India. It's not everybody says I'm contributing with my effort. Whether that effort is in thinking, that effort is in coding, that effort is in manual work. It's so simple to do with computers today. Simple, no problem. But he is a wrong argument because we're not in a paper-based system. Everybody keeps a track of how many hours. I mean, if you're a waiter, you go and wait. I work for 8 hours. 8 hours, I punch in, keep out. Today, everyone can keep a track of how many hours you've put in. You go to work, I've put in so many hours. We must, if you have to create.
As a entrepreneur's mindset, if I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, वो सोचेगा कि यार मुझे पता है कि मुझे महीने की इतनी सैलरी इस इंसान को देनी है. अब मैं अगर आवरली करूंगा, मैं प्रिडिक्ट नहीं कर सकता हूँ कि मेरी अर्निंग्स क्या होगी एंड ऑफ द मंथ में.
क्यों नहीं?
ये भी एक सोच है जो मैं डेविल्स एडवोकेट की तरह सोच रहा हूँ कि
गलत सोच है ना, वही मैं बोल रहा
कि
हूँ.
मुझे पता है इसको
Devil's
20,000 रुपए देने हैं, पर अगर मैं आवरली करूं, अगर इसने जो 8 घंटे का 10 घंटे किया किसी दिन, तो मुझे उसको पर आवर उतना देना है जो मैं
ज्यादा दो, कोई बात नहीं.
फिर वो सोचते हैं कि हमारे प्रॉफिट में खाएगा.
नहीं, वो
ये सोच
गलत
है.
सोच गलत
धंधे का
है.
सोच है.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये धंधा सोच गलत है. गलत है. That means you should value people for their effort, not for how much you can extract from them and get away with less. That's the wrong way. बस यही सोच, अगर everybody starts thinking like this across the board, immediately. And next thing is you just have to create more employment, encourage more businesses to start up. Today it's a Robin Hood society. Rob from the rich and pay the poor somehow. If somebody's having fun, tax them more. Hey, that taxing more does not work. It's a way of thinking. All of us are contributing our effort. The more we contribute, the more we feel we are part of the nation and we are part of building a new nation. And today with computers, you can measure everybody's productivity 100%. Easy. True. And make lying illegal. Don't lie. Don't say you spend 8 hours when you spent only 1 hour doing something.
मुझे एक बात बताइए कि आप यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में सेटल्ड हो, आपने वहाँ पे बिजनेस किया, बिजनेस को अच्छे वैल्यूएशन पे निकाला. अब फिर what is driving you to look towards India right now?
Love for my country of my birth.
क्योंकि आप कंफर्टेबल जिंदगी जी रहे हो वहाँ पे, आपके पास सब कुछ है, तो वो सब इंजॉय भी कर रहे हैं आप, पर आप कुछ ना कुछ चाह रहे हैं कि आप कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट करें हमारे देश में. Why are you looking towards India?
When you live for yourself, you live one lifetime. When you live for others, you live forever. That is my philosophy. And I think I can contribute. Like I said, I look at India and I see amazing potential. How do you tap into it? How do you unleash it? Just with this little mindset change. I've given you 10 examples of it. And I'm saying, if everybody starts thinking like me, we can change India. So I want to, because this is the country of my birth. I'm born from this soil. They say son of the soil because, there is a natural law, and this is very widely practiced in the US, which is we're all made from earth. In some way, philosophical, subconscious, We are from the earth and we go back to the earth, right? And I'm saying, I grew up here. This is my home.
What is it that you want to change here?
Mindset. That's it. Mindset of people. That is all that is required. If the mindset of people changes, we can transform this country from an asset-based economy into an IP-based economy.
And what is it exactly that you're doing here?
I'm doing things like trying to teach people, change the education system, to try to teach them critical thinking, to try to teach them that if one of us succeeds, we all succeed. It is not a zero-sum game. If you succeed, that doesn't mean it must be somehow at my cost. So I have to pull you down so that you don't succeed too much because I'm losing somehow. That zero-sum game mentality has to go. I have to find happiness in making sure that you succeed and all others succeed. Because a rising tide lifts all boats. We all have to collaborate. That spirit of collaboration is not there. In our laws, in the application of our laws, in the thinking, in the mindset, all of that has to change.
Where do you think is this slip between the lip and the cup where it comes to our laws and reforms? Because on paper there are reforms being made, but like practically it's not.
Few. Implementation is all wrong.
Give me an example.
People take the most draconian way of implementing a rule or a law or this thing. There's no spirit. For example, in one of my companies, income tax authority charged us fictitious tax based on our revenue, on transaction volume. Transaction is not revenue. Revenue is, so if we are doing collection of 100 crores, but we're making only 0.5% of that, our revenue is only half a crore, not 100 crores. They're like, no, you prove it. Let's go to court. I mean, you're fighting over like obvious things. You know what is wrong. This is nothing but harassment. If everybody starts thinking of harassing each other, how will the country move forward? We're just harassing each other. We're not helping each other. In order for us to succeed as a country, we have to help each other.
आपको क्या लगता है जो हमारे देश का विजन है 2047 विकसित भारत डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमी, what is your thought behind it?
I think it is a dream.
Not practically possible?
No, I don't know if it is possible or not. But somebody has to define the steps to get there. Not that I have a dream. What are the steps? And really, that's not what people should be dreaming about. The real dream should be, my goal is to increase the per capita GDP of the country. Otherwise, it's just words. I don't care if the economy is 47 trillion, whatever that number is. I don't even know. My goal should be every individual's income goes up. So the per capita GDP is a more accurate number to start looking at and to be dreaming about. And then you have to break it down into smaller steps. I'm a cyclist. The way I climb 5,000 feet of elevation is not by saying, I'm going to climb 5,000 feet. No, I don't. If I think that way, I will lose. I break it down. First 50 feet, 100 feet, slowly. And at each step, I'm just worried about the next 100 feet of climb. And then, sure enough, I do it. That's how we have to think. We have to try to increase the per capita GDP. Automatically, the fallout of increasing the per capita GDP is the GDP of the nation will increase to whatever trillion.
And what strategies do you think?
Employment for all. Productive employment for all. Productive. Let everybody be involved in doing something productive, in doing something that they are good at.
हाइपोथेटिकली अगर सोचा जाए, आज अगर मुझे एक आइडिया है, मेरे पास एक आइडिया है और मैं सोचता हूँ कि इस आइडिया को इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहिए, मैं एक आइडिया का प्लान बना के एक फंडिंग के लिए वीसी के पास जाता हूँ या किसी के पास जाता हूँ, मैं बोलता हूँ ये मेरा आइडिया है, ये विजन है, पता नहीं होगा कि नहीं होगा, बट ये है, ये इससे ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो सकती है. अब क्या स्टेप्स लेने चाहिए मुझे इसको स्केल करने के लिए, इसको एक्चुअली प्रैक्टिकली आगे बढ़ाने के लिए?
वही जो सबसे पहले स्टेप्स ये लेने चाहिए कि आइडिया के क्या क्या कंपोनेंट्स हैं जो आपको सॉल्व करने हैं. और जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव, तो इट शुड नॉट इवन अकर टू यू कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कोई प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना है. दैट शुड बी अ गिवन कि द सिस्टम इज देयर टू सपोर्ट यू. कि अकाउंटिंग, रजिस्टरिंग ऑफ कंपनीज, ये सब तो छोटी चीजें हैं, वो तो प्रोसीजरल वर्क है. बिगर विजन है कि उस आइडिया का किससे बेनिफिट, आपका कस्टमर कौन है, किसको बेनिफिट पहुंचेगा, एंड आर दे विलिंग टू पे यू फॉर इट, एंड हाउ बिग इज द मार्केट, एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पीपल विल यू नीड टू मेक दिस आइडिया सक्सेसफुल. डू यू नीड engineers? Do you need doctors? Do you need scientists? Do you need artists? Then you, from the big vision, you break it down into smaller. And everybody has to play their role like a well-greased orchestra. And then you have an outcome. So you have a vision. And the vision is not financial, 47 trillion. The vision is everybody should have a GDP of $5,000 or $10,000 a year. That should be the goal. That should be the goal of every politician. Every bureaucrat, we have to increase the per capita GDP to that number. Otherwise, we're just lying to ourselves. कोई बोल रहा है हमारी, tell the ordinary person on the road who cannot make ends meet and feed his own children कि हमारी $47 trillion GDP economy बन रही है. What does it mean to that person? He cannot feed his own kids. We have failed them because we've got the wrong vision or wrong way of counting, or basically we're lying. That's why I said lying has to be made illegal.
Okay. What is an advice that you would give to the young entrepreneurs today in India wanting to make it big, जो कुछ बनना चाहते हैं, कुछ बनाना चाहते हैं, एक चेंज लाना चाहते हैं, और वो अगर आपके सामने आज बैठे हैं, जो लोग देख रहे हैं, आप क्या एडवाइस देंगे ताकि वो एक मार्क बना पाए नेशनली एंड इंटरनेशनली?
एक तो first whatever idea it is, let it ruminate in your head. Slowly the answers will come. Don't say, I have an idea, I have to start tomorrow. No, don't worry about that. I've successful entrepreneurs, the idea has been ruminating, and many of them are accidental entrepreneurs. Bill Gates, accidental entrepreneur. The guys who started Google, accidental entrepreneurs. Bill Gates just created an operating system or sold one to IBM. IBM made the standard. And he sold that to all of IBM's competitors and made a lot of money. And people respected intellectual property. They didn't copy this thing. They said, no, $100 per, this thing will pay you $100 per. Respect for intellectual property. And our entire ecosystem we have to move away from the so-called jugaad. Jugaad is not critical thinking. You can't support jugaad on the one hand and on the other hand go and say that you're not making anything good. You can't have it both ways. You have to support original thought, original ideas, and it takes a long time to nurture. Like one of the entrepreneurs that I did a podcast with, it took him 7 years. He says 7 years he was just thinking of this idea. He wrote an 80-page paper on every different way in which this idea would succeed or why it would not start succeed, why the time was right. Ideas occur when the timing is right for them.
Okay. One is let the idea ruminate in your brain.
One is think of ideas, let it ruminate in your brain, and think of solving some critical problems.
What do you think is a major critical problem in India that you see right off the bat?
Unemployment.
हाँ, तो उसको कैसे, वो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट तो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है ही, उसको कैसे सॉल्व करना चाहिए या किस डायरेक्शन में देखना चाहिए हमें? क्योंकि आपने बोला लेट फॉरेन कंपनीज कम इन, आने दो सबको, कहीं ना कहीं
Change the ownership rules.
आ रहे हैं, फॉरेन कंपनीज आ रहे हैं,
But they're very slow. The hands are hampered. Everybody is still thinking zero-sum game. People don't collaborate enough. There are monopolies being created. It's all being done in a very haphazard, trader, thanda mentality way. Hey, this is not the way out.
Okay. Okay. So one is idea, ruminating the idea, solving a critical problem.
Solving a critical problem. Two is find the right people who can, and for ideas to succeed, and especially in the age of AI, you don't need armies of programmers and people, 60 people, 70 people, 100 people, none of that. You need just 2, 3, 4, that's it. But you've got to solve the right problem.
Okay.
And go about it and make use of social media for marketing. Given, easy, right? Use technology heavily. Use AI. Think of scale. Don't try to do it by just one. Like somebody I met a few years back said, I want to make a hospital. I said, he's trying to get some financing to make. It's not interesting to me. What are you doing? One hospital? India needs 10,000 hospitals. Come up with a plan to do 1,000 hospitals. Now you're making a dent. And there is financing available for thinking big. We are doing things serially. India is not going to get there by serial growth. India will get there by doing parallel growth. We are doing serial growth and claiming, oh my God, we're building one road here, one road there. That's not. Thinking is, and be humble. Be willing to accept that your idea is not good enough, timing is not right. Those come with, just trying to do something.
एक सोच मेरी ये भी होती है कि इंडिया इतना हेवी सोशल मीडिया यूजिंग कंट्री है, फिर हम अपने लेवल पर क्यों नहीं बना पाए हैं हम एक इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कुछ?
कोई बात नहीं, मैं काम कर रहा हूँ एक सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पर, थोड़ा अलग से होगा, नेताग्राम है उसका नाम।
उसमें क्या होगा?
एक तो अभी पॉलिटिक्स से शुरू हुआ है वर्टिकल, हम अभी दूसरे वर्टिकल्स भी डाल रहे हैं, यूनिक स्पोर्ट्स कंटेंट, यूनिक बॉलीवुड कंटेंट, यूनिक स्पिरिचुअल कंटेंट, यूनिक टू इंडिया. So kind of like Facebook, but different. Very adapted to what interests us.
Do you think our data is really safe?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it is safe is a question. The right question is it being used? Yes. It's being used to market goods to you.
I'll tell you something, because ये सवाल मेरे पास क्यों आया है, क्योंकि जब प्रेसिडेंट ट्रम्प की स्वेरिंग इन सेरेमनी थी, एक चीज़ जो मैंने और हम जो बात कर रहे थे, हमने बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ नोटिस की जिसने थोड़ा डराया भी. उस स्वेरिंग सेरेमनी के स्टेज पे पीछे मार्क ज़करबर्ग, इलॉन मस्क, सुंदर पिचाई, ये सारे आपके टेकीज खड़े हुए थे. And that just gave me a picture of them backing the system.
No. Yeah, you're reading too much into
it is a scary thought.
ना वो सब scary आप एक photo देख के नहीं, it's true that they're lending
Their support.
moral tacit support to him because otherwise he is a crazy guy. He'll shut them down for no reason. Like he's banned TikTok, not banned it, banned it, not banned it. So it's like, when you've got a wacko president, and luckily I can say this, even being an American citizen, I can say this is a wacko president because he does crazy stuff. He is unpredictable. He knows it too, he's unpredictable. So, for lack of other this thing, they have to play nice, but they're just providing moral support to go and say,
एज अ कॉमन मैन मेरे को वही लगता है ना कि यार मेरा डेटा इन सब के हाथ में है क्योंकि हम वही चीज यूज कर रहे हैं वो हमारी पूरी जिंदगी वहां पे एक स्टेज पे खड़ी थी गूगल मेटा
now you're
सब कुछ
over dramatizing it.
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है
No.
तो वी
It's a
शुड नॉट
different
बी
way of thinking about it. Yeah, is your data being used to market goods to you? Yes, 110%. But is that data, हमारा data ले लिया है, क्या जाके क्या, what are they going to do with it? What is so special about our data? Oh my God, हमारा data, other than words and cocktail level talk, what does it mean? Yeah, it's being used to market stuff to you, yeah, for sure. Which we all know. You search for a bicycle, you'll get bicycle ads. You search for a pair of shoes, you'll get all the kind of shoe brands. Yeah, that is the internet. No problem.
nothing beyond that
No. What are they going to do? Do that and blackmail you or what? What? I mean, pray tell what? They do have your data. They're going to use it for marketing stuff to you, and it's a different way of looking at it. But don't overly dramatize that कि हमारा data है वो US के पास है चलो US ने ले भी लिया उस data में क्या है आपने कुछ गलत काम किया है क्या किया है what's the whole problem here but so more important than that data is what they have done is fine. We have to solve our own problems ourselves. Let's come up with a unique social media platform that is suited for India, that is meant for India, that solves India's needs. And हम उस ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म पे काम कर रहे हैं Instagram.
okay now let's talk a little bit about your personal journey.
Sure.
Reflecting back on your entire entrepreneurial journey, what were the pivotal moments or the key moments that shaped your career? And what lessons that you learned from that journey that benefited you and can benefit others?
Oh, I learned so many things. I learned human relations. That is more important. Most important is good chemistry between the founding team. More important than professionally आप क्या करते हो, ये करते हो, accountant हो, all that is useless. The core team has to believe in the larger vision. Anything is possible. That is the hardest, and it has to be, it's a subconscious commitment. Exemplified in sport. Why is the German soccer team the best, one of the best in the world? Because they all think alike. They can predict each other's moves subconsciously. All high-end sport occurs at the subconscious level, not at the conscious level. You're not there saying, मुझे pass दो. You already know कि हमको pass मिलने वाला है और कहाँ हमको pass देगा. That subconscious trust is the most important thing for the success of a startup. It's not money. It's not how many people you have. It's not people power, nothing. And all innovation comes from startups, not from big companies. Big companies buy innovation. It actually comes from small teams. But small teams where everybody trusts each other and knows what's in the head of a CEO. What is the ultimate vision? Same thing applies to a country too. We need to find a person, a true leader with a true vision. Not a dream, a vision. There's a difference between a dream and a vision.
Okay. What is it that you feel? What is your wish or vision for the Indian startup in the next decade? कि आप क्या देखना चाहते हैं?
हाँ, एक तो obviously more critical ideas that solve some real problems. I don't even know what those problems are. Hardest thing is to find the right problem to solve.
I think India has quite a bit of them.
Quite a bit of them, but let people find the real problems. Scalable, obviously, and something that is in touch with what's going on in the world of technology. Like I'm working on an idea which is a different way of looking at artificial intelligence. Like the whole world is looking at artificial intelligence from the viewpoint of large language model. I'm like, no, I think instinctively, but my opinion, that large language models have achieved whatever they had to achieve. And now from 98%, they may go to 99%, 199.99%, but the returns are going to be incremental, not dramatic. Like when the first large language model was there, it was from 10% understanding AI to 95%. So that's not where AGI is going to come from. I'm looking at AGI in a different way.
Like?
Like I'm saying, if you mimic human vision, we have a 2D vision, which is I'm looking at you, and then I have a 3D vision. I have a peripheral vision. I'm looking at things like I'm over here. I may forget what you look like 10 years from now, but I'll never, my peripheral vision will remember this forever. In that, there is some magic. We're kind of working on it. We'll see. That could lead to AGI.
Okay. And what else? For a startup, do you have a vision?
No, so for startups, like I said, start solving some real problems, critical problems. Obviously, they have to be scalable. They have to affect all of the human. India has 1.5 billion people. If you can tap into this large market, and it need not all be financial. Somebody has to buy something. You see, somebody else said the actual buying power of people in India for like high-end goods is just no larger than Mexico. So once again, our leaders are lying when they're saying India is such a big market. There's no big market. There's only 130 million people who have the ability to buy anything. So what they should be focusing on is the per capita GDP. Not total GDP. Total GDP is a meaningless number, especially if you count it wrong.
I also feel that, there are so many areas which really need innovation in, because probably the old ways are not working. Number one, pollution. Something that can really help drastically reduce our pollution levels. Our sanitation levels. Something that can work in that. We have garbage all over the roads. I mean, something on that which can help the government at least do something about it. There's so many things that I feel, but these fields I also feel are not fancy enough for someone to try and take a role in. But these are the things that can actually help in
So now you're
ease of
still-
living.
But like I said, all those will be solved if you increase the per capita GDP. You are looking at the visual. You're looking at the paint in the car. I'm saying the engine needs to be changed. The engine is not working. Putting more fancy paint on it will only make it, it looks good. Looks beautiful. Arey, fantastic. Kya acha hai.
चल नहीं रहा पर.
चल ही नहीं रहा, कहीं जा ही नहीं रहा. Like a relationship, everybody says, kya wonderful, such a lovely couple. अंदर से क्या हो रहा है, कोई relationship ही नहीं है. What's the meaning of such a lovely couple?
Absolutely.
So we are fooling ourselves when we look at just the surface. Our problems are core. Structurally, the inner engine has to be overhauled, changed, started, jump started, whatever word you want to use. And that all comes down to increasing the per capita GDP. You increase the per capita GDP from 2,500 right now, even to just 3,500, 4,000, all the pollution levels will go away. It has such a dramatic effect. Garbage will go away. You change education, automatically things go away. We need to mass educate our people. Use technology to do that. Everyone, it's a hard problem. It's not a hard problem. Break the big problem down into smaller problems, decentralize the whole thing, and you can solve it very quickly.
Lovely. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on Unlock with Kunal Jaisingh. I had a brilliant chat with you. Thank you for
Thank you.
your enlightening visions and your thought. I mean, it was quite interesting and intriguing for me to hear your thought process on things, and very interesting way of viewing things. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Unlock.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Pleasure was mine.
इंडिया बहुत तेजी से प्रोग्रेस कर रहा है, पर क्या उतनी तेजी से प्रोग्रेस कर रहा है जितना हमें करना चाहिए? ये सबके बारे में हमने इस पॉडकास्ट पे बात किया कि हमें कैसे बिजनेस को देखना चाहिए, हमारे टेक के फ्यूचर में क्या लिखा हुआ है, हमारे गवर्नमेंट रिफॉर्म्स क्या होने चाहिए, और कहां हम और ज्यादा बेहतर कर सकते हैं कंट्री वाइज. आई होप आपको इस कॉन्वर्सेशन से कुछ सीखने को मिला, और अगर मिला तो प्लीज इस वीडियो को 2 लोगों से जरूर शेयर करना. मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, इस वीडियो को लाइक कीजिए और बेल आइकन जरूर दबाइए ताकि जब हर वेडनेसडे को मेरा एपिसोड रिलीज हो आपको सबसे पहले पता चले. Once again, thank you for joining me on Unlock with Kunal Jaisingh.